A couple of weeks ago, I think about 10 days ago actually, I posted a video that was titled Huawei's Mate XT Ultimate sells out, Samsung must catch up. And the framing of this video, you can see it actually right here. Got about 11,000 views 10 days ago, so fairly decent video for me. The framing of this video was essentially this. We took a look at the fact that Huawei's tri-folding Mate XT Ultimate was selling very well at a high price point, something that would be around 3,000 US dollars. And then we talked about the fact that Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 6 had sold worse than the Z Fold 5, which has sold worse than the Z Fold 4. Of course, we're early days on the Z Fold 6, but over the same time frame, it appears as though they're selling worse each step of the way. The very expensive, very aggressive, very advanced looking Huawei Mate XT Ultimate is selling out at a very high price point. That was sort of the framing, right? Samsung is trending downwards. These other Chinese OEMs are making better and better hardware, and they seem to be selling better and better. Now, since I posted that video, I have gotten a whole bunch of comments from people saying, Shane, have you seen the news about the Huawei Mate XT Ultimate, that there are problems with it, that they're breaking, that a lot of the sales were from scalpers, they're being returned. And I'm going to talk about that today. So the reason I've taken 10 days to talk about, even though these comments came up within the first maybe 2 or 3 days, is because I was struggling to find an actual source for this information. So the closest thing to a true source that I can find is this. We have this video from China Observer. Now, this is a very big YouTube channel, 481,000 subscribers, 259,000 views on this video. And what you see in this video as we go through it, I'm not going to go through the entire video. It's 17 minutes long. I'll put a link to it in the description. But what you do see are a couple of things, and we're going to kind of address them as we go through this. So you see straight away a Huawei Mate XT Ultimate with something has happened down that center bit there, right? So there's a bit of failure of that folding screen on the crease. Obviously, it can fold around one more time to be the full-size device, but this particular crease, this particular bending area has failed. And in this video, they show several other XT Ultimates which have also failed. One of them, in fact, was failed right out of the box. They hadn't even gone through setup yet, and the thing was already broken. So let's stop and kind of pause on this bit and address this. Now, before I really dig too deep, what I want to say is, I'm not saying that there aren't problems with this device. I'm not saying that it doesn't have a high failure rate. I'm not saying that there aren't problems with returns, that there weren't scalpers. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is we do need to pump the brakes a little bit, because you can find reports of this exact stuff happening with absolutely any foldable. In fact, 18 hours ago, this was posted about a Z Fold 6. It's cracked right down the middle. It's on the setup screen, okay? It's almost the exact same thing going on here. The only difference is that the actual screen itself hasn't gone black here, but nonetheless, it's cracked down the middle and it's on the welcome screen. This thing's gonna have to be replaced. You see this about every foldable, whether it is the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, the Z Fold, the OnePlus Open, the Huawei Vivo Honor. You see broken phones. It just happens. So do I think that there's a rash of this happening with the Huawei phone? Maybe, maybe not. I just don't think we have good information. If you try Googling around, this is a China phone. It's hard to get information over here, so it's really hard to say for sure. Now, it's worth pointing out that they do show several different broken pieces of hardware right there outside of launch. But again, if you don't believe me, just pick a phone, go to that subreddit, and do some searches. You're going to find just as many broken phones in that brand, that OEM, as you are for this. So is the Huawei Mate XT Ultimate just breaking constantly? Is it just this incredibly fragile thing? I don't know. I need to see more evidence before I'm willing to take that leap. From this, it looks to be fairly in line with the other foldable phones. If you have a better source, if you have more reports, better data, let me know in the comments. But until then, this is where we are with this. Now, they do also talk about how there was quite a bit of scalping. So basically, people bought the thing to resell it because there was a limited quantity, and those scalpers were able to initially sell the phone back to other consumers for a big profit, but then those profits, the prices plummeted because there just wasn't enough demand for it from those scalpers. So a lot of scalpers, I guess, are in a little bit of trouble now because they've overextended themselves. That's great because scalpers suck. How much of an impact did scalping have on the total sales? I don't know. It's just really hard to say because, like the breaking thing, we just don't have good data. What we do know is that they had a whole bunch of reservations, something like 6 million of them in like a very short amount of time. Now, granted, this was a no money down reservation, so these reservations did not turn into 6 million sales. Nonetheless, we do think that they did sell quite a few. They sold, I think they sold out. So they sold about as many of them as they had. What number is that? I don't think we really know. The initial point of my video was to say that Samsung was slipping. Their market share, their stranglehold on the foldable market was beginning to loosen. Now, the mistake that I made is that I focused too much on this one particular phone. Because it was big in the news, it was exciting, and it was something that was new. And because of that, the response that I got was also too focused in on that one specific phone. Let me show you a little bit of actual data here. So this is on TrendForce, and this is very important. Samsung, a trailblazer in the foldable market, commanded over 80% of the market share in 2022. However, with the increasing competition from various brands in 23 and 24, Samsung's share dropped from 60%, and it now struggles to maintain 50%. And if we scroll down, what we see here is that Huawei has now eaten into this in a significant way. 31% of that market share is now owned by Huawei. Even if all these things about the Mate XT Ultimate are true, it's failing at a higher rate. A lot of its sales were scalping. All of these things are true. I don't think it really matters because it just got released. This data is from June of 24, and they were already making incredible progress. And then you see these smaller brands like Vivo, Oppo, Xiaomi, Honor. They are all, which Xiaomi is not a smaller brand, but you know what I mean. They're all beginning to get a foothold in this foldable market. And again, that is the real point I was trying to make, that Samsung is losing that death grip that they had on foldables. They once were at 80% market share. So you can poo-poo the XT Ultimate all you want, but I think that you're being obtuse and you're probably missing my point. My point is that Samsung does need to catch up. They need to do more to compete. They need to make better hardware. They need to do more to sell more foldables, or else they're going to lose more and more of the market share in the market that they pioneered. So guys, hopefully this clarifies what I was really getting at with that video. I was a little bit ham-fisted with the way that I went about it, and that's totally on me. I could have been a whole lot clearer, but it's also good to sort of address the things being said about the Mate XT Ultimate. Hopefully better information comes out soon and we see what's really going on with this thing from more than one source. And I'd love to just have like proper data on the failure rate of these phones in general, but it's just something that we don't have, and maybe we're never going to have. But at any rate, guys, hopefully you found this illuminating or interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.